In this week's episode, we'll discuss the topic you're leaving money on the table every time you swipe. Welcome to Black Belt Banter, the best podcast to help your martial arts school increase in profit and generate substantial revenue. I'm your host, Jimmy Hong, and my co host is Master Jay Lee. Our guest today doesn't wear a uniform, hasn't broken a board, and probably couldn't tell you the difference between a front kick and a roundhouse kick. But he knows this industry better than most people who's been on the mat for decades. Mr. Pat Morgan is an entrepreneur, restaurateur, and commercial real estate investor who has spent over 16 years working directly inside the martial arts industry. And as a founding member of ASA, he has been there from the very beginning, helping build a foundation that school owners across the country have relied on to grow their businesses. He's not here to talk martial arts. He's here to talk money, specifically how every school owner in this room is sitting on a reward strategy they're completely ignoring. Pat has built businesses, invested in real estate, and navigated the financial side of entrepreneurship at a high level. That's exactly the perspective we need for this conversation. Master Jay Lee, Mr. Pat Morgan, welcome to Black Belt Banter. Let's start off with you, Pat. Can you give us a quick background on how you got into this world of credit card rewards and what pulled you down this rabbit hole?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. I spent the early part of my career in sales, and when I was out traveling for work, my coworkers explained to me, hey, why don't you take advantage of this free rewards program that's out there? Because we had a business Amex. And I said, okay. So I signed up for that and started using it. And as I started doing more and more traveling, I realized that there's this whole world out there that's open to people if they're just smart about how they spend their money and take advantage of it. So I was always a bit of a geek. I used to spend my time focusing on things like fantasy football and things like that, and I had spreadsheets and all of that. And I turned my geekiness from that fantasy football into going down this rabbit hole with credit cards where I can get thousands and thousands of dollars worth of rewards every year without spending any money differently than I would otherwise.
Well, yeah, but I think that a bit of a geek
I'm-
is a little bit of a misnomer. I mean, you're a huge geek, right?
I was just gonna say you're in good company, but we have the biggest geek of them all, Master Jay Lee. So
I love the fact that you guys are taking the shots for me. I don't even need to. But in fact, in this case, Jay, I take pride in my geekiness. So there's a lot of other comments you'll make about me that I'll argue with you on, but I'll own this one completely.
Well, we're glad that you are on top of your geek pride. But Pat,
Absolutely.
Pat, I think the interesting thing about what you've done is that, I mean, you told me that you haven't paid for a plane ticket in like 10 years or something like that.
No, 25 years. I have not paid for a vacation in 25 years. That includes airplane tickets. That includes hotels. I've had actual that have been booked through points, car rentals that have been booked through points. I'm a very cheap guy, so I'd rather use the benefits of the program and go on vacations I otherwise would never have been able to afford.
So when we went on vacations together and I was paying on my own, you're telling me all that time you weren't paying anything at all and you were using your reward point?
He's actually making money off of us, I think.
That's exactly what's going on. I'm trying to make sure that all the charges go on my credit card so that I get the benefits. Absolutely.
Wait, are you just spending more than us? Is that what's going on?
No, not at all.
He's
So
cheap,
what I'm doing
remember?
is I'm
He's
trying
cheap.
I am cheap, so I don't argue that point either. But what I'm doing is I don't spend any money I otherwise wouldn't spend. What I do, though, is I do very purposeful spending. So I buy certain things on certain credit cards, but more importantly, I open up different credit cards for the sign-up bonuses. There's something out there called credit card churning, and I don't want people to get nervous about it, but you're signing up, getting a new credit card. If you spend, let's say, example, $6,000 over the course of 3 or 4 months, I get a huge sign-up bonus. So something in the neighborhood of 100, 200,000 points that I can later turn that into airfare or car rentals or whatever I need to.
Well, Pat, I've been, on this journey. You've been coaching me through the process. I have some understanding, but let's start from kind of ground zero, right? Like if you don't use any credit cards, can you talk to us a little bit about what are the 3 or 4 major credit cards? You got Chase, you got American Express, you got a Capital One. So start us in the beginning and help us understand that.
So let's actually take it a step back further. There's 2 kinds of rewards programs, and I focus mostly on the travel rewards programs because that's what I'm looking to save my money on. But you can also do cash back rewards programs. And when I opened my Dairy Queens and I had some huge expenses coming up all at one time, I also did some cash back cards as well. But you're right. There are, I'm going to say, 4 or 5 major ecosystems for credit cards. Chase is one, Citibank, American Express, Capital One, and Bank of America is now starting to get into it a little bit more too.
So can you?
So those are the major programs. The benefits that I look for with those programs is the fact that not only can you get cash back, meaning for every dollar that I spend, I can get 1 or 2 cents back. I actually get a much larger payoff based upon the fact that I can transfer using those different ecosystems to an actual airline. Instead of using the money to book an airline, I actually transfer it to United or Canadian Airlines or any of those other different kinds of brands so that I can turn those into business class airfares or things like that.
So you're kind of geeking us out here, Pat. So let's maybe even go
Okay,
a
sorry.
step back further. So number one principle is never pay anything on a debit card or by check. If you're going to spend the money, you make your money spent work for you by putting it on a credit card. That's principle number one, correct?
That is 100% correct.
Okay.
Never, in fact, the worst thing you can do is use a debit card. A debit card is just foolish. It gives you all of the negatives of not feeling the pain right now of what you spend, but it doesn't give you any of the benefits. So you want to use a credit card for I go to McDonald's and I use a credit card because I want the benefits on
What do
every
you mean
dollar
McDonald's?
that
I thought you said you were a Dairy Queen owner. What are you talking about?
I was a Dairy Queen owner. There isn't a Dairy Queen where I live
yeah,
currently.
yeah,
So
yeah, sure.
if I'm saying if I go to McDonald's,
Wait,
Okay, so
if I use a vending machine today, I use a credit card.
question. But people use debit card so that they don't incur debt, right? So that they know it takes out from their bank account directly, and that there isn't debt accrued.
That's true, but you also don't get the protection of the purchases on your debit card. So if you purchase something on your credit card and there is a problem, you have protections that come with your credit card. You don't have that on your debit card. The second thing is, regardless of what you're going to do, you never spend a dime on your credit card that you wouldn't spend otherwise. Do not put yourself into debt. Make sure you can pay it off in full every single month.
So principle number one, pay everything on a credit card. Principle number two, never accrue a balance, right? You always pay it off in full. Statement, pay it off in full. Okay, so then number three,
100% true.
then you've got to make a kind of fundamental choice, right? Am I going after the cash back or am I going after the travel? So perhaps, Pat, we can go one path at a time, starting first with the travel, because I think that's kind of your forte is you build all these travel points that you can transfer them over to partners. So let's again start at ground zero. You're going to go the travel path, right?
Correct. So for me, my goal is if I had the choice, I would travel to every country in the world that's safe to go to, and I want to travel comfortably and I want to stay in nice hotels. So my goal is to accumulate as many points as possible so that I can transfer those points to different partners, and each credit card ecosystem has different travel partners that they can transfer your points to be able to get nice stays and nice airfare upgrades.
So that's a really critical piece, right, Pat? Is that you don't like. Let's just take Chase as an example. You accumulate points on Chase, and then Chase will allow you to book travel by using the Chase points. But you're saying don't do that. You're going to take the Chase points, transfer over to United, transfer over to Hilton, transfer over to Marriott, and then use them from there.
Absolutely true. So with Chase, you have the option. It'll say book travel reward or book a travel
That's your
trip.
travel agent calling you.
And it's actually Master John Lee calling me at the
Well,
moment.
so
But,
your secretary's calling you.
Exactly.
Wait,
So-
answer the phone, Master
so-
Charlie. Let's get him on this podcast.
Ask him
No,
how many
no,
points
no,
he's
no, no,
accumulated
that-
using your philosophies.
So for the people watching, Master Hong and Master Lee have both taken advantage of some of my advice for accumulating points. Master Chan Lee, however, has decided that it's too much work for him. And there's very little work involved. It's just spending money. Is all
He's
you have
also
to do.
trying to
So-
send us money by Western Union. So, I mean, it just goes to
True.
show where he's at. But anyway, sorry, we put you off topic. So go back to the
You
Chase.
did.
So,
Okay, so if you are about to book a trip, Chase will ask you if you're looking to book travel, and you can do it right through their portal, which works fine, but it gives you an assigned cents per point that you use. So if let's just say an airplane ticket costs $500, it gives you 1 cent per point that you have. It'll take you that many points to book the trip. That's not the way to ever book travel. What they also give you the option to do is to travel your points to their partners, be it United, be it Hyatt, be it whatever different program you want to go with. You want to transfer those points to those partners because you'll get much more value for your points.
So I think that's mistake number one that most people make, right? Is they got their American Express points, their Chase points, and they're booking through their travel sites. You're saying don't do that. Transfer it to the place you actually want to travel with.
Transfer it to, you'll get much higher cents per value or per point. For instance, I did a business class trip to Japan 3 years ago. I booked a $6,000 business class ticket for about $300 worth of points. If I would have booked it through their portal, I would have gotten $300 worth of value. By transferring it to Japan Airlines, I was able to get $6,000 worth of value for those same.
So how many points on the Japan Airlines did it cost you?
So for that one, it actually cost me 30,000 points each way for a business class ticket.
60,000 points, you travel business class to Japan.
Let me say something most martial arts school owners don't want to hear. Working harder is not what's going to grow your school. Most school owners are grinding every day, teaching classes, answering messages, running trials, posting on social media, and still stuck at the same number of students month after month. You start wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why are other schools growing faster? Why does it feel like I'm working more but getting less? Here's the truth. It's not effort. It's not talent. It's the way you think about your business. That's exactly why we created Black Belt Banter. This podcast is free, but it's not entertainment. We talk about real problems school owners face: marketing, staff, retention, revenue, the things nobody teaches you when you open a school. Black Belt Banter helps you think like a school owner who's growing, not one who's just trying to survive. But thinking the right way is only step one, because knowing what to do is very different from knowing exactly how to do it. That's where ASA Live comes in. ASA Live gives you the details, step-by-step systems, exact strategies, real instructions you could use right away. Black Belt Banter shows you the direction. ASA Live shows you the path. And the school owners who use both are the ones adding students, increasing revenue, and building schools that actually grow year after year. If you're listening to Black Belt Banter, you're already ahead. And when you're ready for the next level, register at asamartialarts.com/live, or simply click on the description below to get started. Because growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you think different and then execute.
Correct. And to give you an idea, 6 months before that, I had a vow renewal that my wife and I had, and I signed up for 2 new credit cards right before that. I got over $300,000 or 300,000 points for just spending the money I was going to spend anyhow. So it didn't even take like 20% of my total points that I got on that vow renewal for me to go and get those points or to get that trip.
But you're saying that it costs you 60,000 points versus 600,000 points if you booked it through their travel site. So that's huge.
For one way, it would have been 600,000 points.
What? That's great. Wait. I see commercial. Okay, I have Amex, I have Chase, the 2 big players. And I see commercials all the time from Amex like, oh, go through our travel portal and do this, and go through our travel and book.
Of course they want you to go through their travel portal because it's much more beneficial for them. They are paying all, for whenever they transfer points or whatever, they pay the airlines a cent per point. They get a much better deal on their side to go through their travel portal, which is why they give you 1.25 cents per point instead of just 1 cent per point if you're booking just taking the cash out. But the reality is by transferring the points to their partners, you get much higher value.
Okay, so that's the huge, fundamental change that people have to make. But then there's another layer, Pat, because that 60,000 point flight on Japan Airlines, that's not easy to find, right? Isn't there another way that you're finding those deals?
Oh, you're going all the way down the rabbit hole. Okay.
Wait a minute, Jay. This sounds like you've been using this Pat system for so many years. Why am I just first hearing of this?
Do you think I'm stupid? I mean, why wouldn't you do it?
And be honest, both of you guys, before you met me, were either one of you using points at all?
I mean,
Like this?
I'm the one
I
who
mean, to
came
this
up with all
degree?
this strategy. What are you talking about, Pat?
I know, Jimmy, you've had multiple trips to Hawaii since you and I have talked about how to use these points.
yes. I mean, like I haven't paid for a flight ticket in years since you and I talked many years ago.
So what Jay just asked is, how do you find these flights? How do you find the best opportunities? I used to have to go to each individual airline, type in the dates I'm looking to go, and then I'd play around and try to find options that worked well for me. Today, there's all sorts of things that are out there that'll help you to do this for you. I personally use a site called pointsyeah.com, points, YEAH.com. And it's a place where you can just type in where you're looking to go, and it goes through 18, 20 different airlines, and it'll show you what is the lowest points value, how much it costs you, because you still have to pay for the taxes on the flight, how much it costs in taxes. It'll tell you what has the shortest flight, all of that kind of stuff for you. And it makes it so much easier than I used to have to spend hours and hours on doing this. And now it's all done in 10 minutes.
But Pat, isn't there like some restrictions on when you can use the points for certain dates and things like that, or is that a misconception?
That's a misconception. So every different date is going to tell you that it takes more or less points. And that's the benefit of using a site, an aggregator site like pointsyeah.com. And there's a number of other ones that are out there as well. But all you get to do is see, oh, on this date, this is what the cost is. And if you're flexible with dates and you put in different dates, it'll let you pick and choose. So for my trip to Japan, for instance, if I'd have gone 3 days later, it would have cost me 3 times as much points as it cost me on the dates that I went. So I just play a little bit with the dates and say, okay, my dates are fairly flexible, and I'm going to look for the one that's going to give me the lowest value of points to use.
So using your philosophy.
So Jay, oh, go ahead.
So using your philosophy then is you're just trying to stack as many points as possible on Chase, Capital One, American Express, and then you're finding the deals by going to Points Yeah and then transferring them to Hyatt or Japan Airlines or United Airlines, and then that's how you're making this really work well for you.
2 things. One, yes, that is very true. I've got as many points as I can accumulate between all the different airline programs, all the different credit card programs. I currently have about 4 million points, and that's with me using probably about 500,000 points a year right now. I just keep on renewing them all the time. So that's true. One thing, though, that we're not covering here as part of this is not only I get the credit cards through Chase and transfer the points once I'm there, I also get individual airline credit cards. I also get individual hotel credit cards and take the sign-up bonuses from them as well. For instance, one of the best credit card programs out there, especially with you owning a business, is the Southwest Airlines credit card, both a personal and a credit card or a business card. And if you get both of those cards, sign up for them one right after the other, do the minimum spends, you get a free companion pass for the rest of that year and all of the next year. So I've been doing this every other year. I sign up for both cards, and I get the benefit of taking my wife with me on every trip I go on. And then 2 years later, I sign up my wife for both a personal and a business card. And then for the next 2 years, we go with the free companion pass everywhere. So we just take advantage of that without a question.
Yeah, but that's assuming you want your wife to go with you. I mean, Master Hong, he does it intentionally. He doesn't want his wife to go with him. But it doesn't have to be a family member,
That's actually
right?
one of
He
the
could put me as his companion. Correct?
Even better than that, with the Southwest card, I'm not going to let Jimmy disclaim that. I'm going to just keep on going on.
No, we want to hear from the man.
Card,
like if that's his silence tells you everything.
I tried it, but what ended up happening at the last minute, my wife finds out, and then she's like, "What? I'm going with you," and I would have to pay full price for her to join. So it would have been better if I just added her as companion from the beginning, because my plan didn't work.
So the beautiful thing about the companion pass, though, is that not only can I take my wife on every trip, I have the ability throughout the course of the year, I think it's 3 times, to change who my companion is. So like, for instance, I've taken my daughter with me on a trip and just changed my companion to her, and she got to travel for free.
But does it have to be immediate family member?
It does not. Jay, I could take. I don't want to.
So you'll
but
take
I could
me,
take you anywhere I
and
want
then
to
you
go.
take Jimmy Young. 3 times a year, you can make the change.
You never asked me to be your companion, Pat.
That means you've got to come to me first because we have to leave from the same airport. So you would have to travel to me first.
Gotcha.
Good excuse, Pat. Good
So,
excuse. Well
Wait,
played.
wait. Okay.
see, I came up with that pretty quick.
Can we go back to, okay, so that was brilliant. So you would open up for you under your name first, and then you would add your companion. 2 years later, you would open up for your wife and not your name. So it's the next time you would go is 4 years afterwards then.
Correct. Yes.
That's
But
brilliant.
but Pat, I mean, tell us.
And on top of that, I'd hold on one more thing. With that Southwest card, I would sign up for it in, let's say, late November, early December, so that both the sign up bonuses hit on the first week of January, because you want the points to hit like in January, so you have 2 full years worth of companion pass.
Wow.
Oh,
But Pat, I mean, how many credit cards do you have?
So I currently have 17 credit cards.
17, that's all?
17.
Just
So
17.
then how many under your
you
wife's
can't-
name?
And I have right now. So again, I go through cycles because you can only sign up for so many cards in a given year. So right now, I'm in the process of signing up for cards under my wife's name. So I probably have another 6 cards that only I use under my wife's name.
Okay.
Wait, so you go around carrying a wallet this thick of like 23 credit cards?
Oh no! Again, for me, I have a core 3 or 4 that I use all the time. That if I don't have one that I'm trying to hit a sign-up bonus for, I just use my Chase. I'll even put the plug in here. I use my Chase Sapphire Preferred as my primary card for everything because that's my favorite ecosystem. I like the Chase Transfer Partners the best. So with that said, I have whatever card I'm trying to get a sign-up bonus on. Right now I have an Atmos card, which is actually the Alaska Airlines card, that I have signed up for under my wife's name that I need to spend $6,000 in 3 months on.
But
So I
go ahead. So Pat, tell us who are the main travel
sorry,
partners of Chase that you like so much. Just so our audience has an idea. It's Hyatt, right?
So Hyatt is one of the best ones. So I was always a Marriott guy, traveling for business, and they have the biggest footprint. Marriott was always my favorite program, and I still have 500,600,000 points with Marriott. But Hyatt has the lowest redemption rate for some of the nicest hotels, so I tend to use Hyatt. United is one of their better travel
So
partners
Hyatt
as well.
and United are Chase travel partners.
Our Chase travel partners, and also for getting redemptions for international travel, even though it's part of the same alliance as United, Canadian Airlines, Air Canada, is actually a travel partner as well, and I can get some better redemptions through Air Canada as well, and that's another one of their travel partners. But those are the ones that I tend to use the most.
Get like
Delta-
the double dip because it's Canadian dollar currency too versus US.
Exactly. No, but you pay taxes in Canadian dollars, so that is less.
Oh my God.
But with
I'm
With American Express, they have Delta, so that's why I continue to use them for domestic flights as well. But yeah, so you really want to look at who all the travel partners are and figure out, again, where do you want to go? Do you have a trip that you're trying to work for? It's all about setting goals. But I want to go back to your question about how many credit cards I have for a second. Because like I said, I have 17, and people hear that and they just assume, oh my God, he must have a horrendous credit rating or credit score. Because A, he's opening and closing cards and blah, blah, blah. So 2 things. Again, I always pay off my credit card in full every single month. I have never carried a balance in my entire life. And 2, as long as you're not opening and closing them within the same year, it's a very minimal effect to your credit score. I have not had a credit score under 800 in 15 years.
Okay, so Pat, talk about that nuance though. You said there's only X number you should do per year because I followed your plan and I opened several and I had a little bit of a dip in my score. So
Jay,
what's the secret sauce?
you've been following his plan. You didn't let me know. I thought we were gonna go in this together.
I told you, but you just don't listen.
I feel
Actually,
I feel
the
so
reality is you
left
just didn't understand. I mean, it was a little bit too complex. You're not enough of a geek to understand.
out. I'm sorry for being so cool.
Wow.
I'm sorry for being so cool, Master Kaylee.
Words that I have never heard in my entire life. Jimmy is too cool. He's not a big enough geek. Never heard those words ever.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Master Jay. That's a good
So
question.
what's the number, right? Because I had a little bit of a
So-
dip because I opened so many in one calendar year. So what's the magic number?
So, Jay, my guess is you didn't get a dip because you opened too many in a calendar year. My guess is that you got a dip because you used a huge amount of your debt ability because you were running a large event. And so that amount of money showed up on your credit score, and then you took a big dip. And then over time, over 3 to 4 months, that should come back. But during that huge spend that you had for that large event that you ran, that's when you saw the big dip on your score, not because of opening the additional cards.
Got it. And just so you guys know, I mean, Pat helped me. I gained almost 1 million points by following the system. We did American Express Gold, and then we did a couple of Chase cards, and so. But just to be clear, he benefited too. He referred me, so you get extra points that way. So that's another layer we can discuss maybe later. Is that you can refer people and get additional points, right?
I can't.
So,
Look,
just to be clear, he's
I was
taking
saying,
advantage of
you're-
everybody. When he says,
My mind-
just
And
give
in
over
fact,
the
I'm
money,
gonna-
I'll
I'm gonna
take care of
mention-
it." He's got an ulterior motive.
my
Always have the ulterior motive. Go ahead, Jimmy.
my mind is blown. There's so much information, right? There's no way I'm following. If I'm not following this, like 99% of our audience is not following this because
So here's the
Because
thing
you're
for
so
the
brilliant,
audience
is that what
people
you're
to
trying to
remember.
say?
that's exactly.
I mean,
what
you're the lowest common denominator here.
that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I can't believe the amount of information right now.
So when Master Lee was holding his large event, he and I went through and I talked to him about what your goals are. And I actually helped him and said, okay, these are the credit cards that I would get if I were you. Some of them I already had in my wallet, so I was able to refer him and get an additional benefit from that. But I also told him the other ones to sign up for that I couldn't refer him for because they were the ones that made the most sense for him. So I do actually want to put that plug out there. I don't know, Jimmy, do we have the ability for people to email me or anything like that?
Yeah. It's
And
my
I'm more
email
than-
address. I will refer you, and I'll get the points.
No, I'll actually help anybody try to at least figure out the initial game plan. And once they start learning a little bit, then they can take it to that next step on their own. But if they have some specific goals that they're trying to get points for, I can tell them which cards are going to give them the best access to the rewards that they're looking for. If I can refer a card to them, that's fantastic. If I don't have that card, I don't care.
Yes, you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart, Pat.
I'm a huge geek. I actually love the challenge
Oh.
today. I know it sounds weird, but I love the challenge of being able to help people figure out how to get there.
We can absolutely. We're gonna put your contact information or your email on our show notes and YouTube description below. So look for that and feel free to. Pat is very accessible. Feel free to reach out to Mr. Pat Morgan. I know he just loves to help in that sense. Yes, sir. We could absolutely do that. Can we go back 1 minute to the American Express? I have both American Express Platinum and Gold card. Between the two, I'm paying like $1,700 in annual fees, right? Because the Platinum is like a $900 annual fee now, and the Gold is like $700 or something like that. Do you also recommend that to majority of the people, or?
So the big benefit to me for the Platinum card is the lounge access. So if I am planning on doing a lot of international travel in a given year, and if I'm not going to be going business class, I then tend to get the Platinum card again. I do not keep the Platinum card in my wallet on a regular basis. The annual fee is just too high for the benefits that I get on it. There are additional benefits. You get some different credits and things like that for some people it makes sense to keep all the time. For me, it just doesn't. A lot of the cards I get give me priority pass lounge access, not as nice as the American Express lounges, but that's good enough. For the American Express cards, if I were to keep one in my wallet all the time, I would keep the Gold because you get, I believe it's four times the number of points for every dollar that you spend every time you go to a restaurant and grocery stores, and I think gas even on that card. So I look at that and say, okay, I would get the benefits of that, so that I would keep the Gold card. But unless I'm going to be doing a lot of lounge time, or unless the credits really work well for me, I wouldn't keep the Platinum in my wallet all the time. I've had both the personal and the business Platinum card, and at different times for the sign-up bonuses, it's been great, but I wouldn't keep it.
But just to kind of take a step back, Pat, right? That's a big delineation we should make, is that you have a mix of personal cards, but the majority of what you're doing are business cards, correct?
Right now, actually, the majority that I'm doing are personal cards because, and we're going to go way too far down a rabbit hole here, but all of the different credit card companies have certain rules for how many credit cards you can sign up for in a given year.
For business
instance,
card or personal or both?
It's really for the personal cards. So, for instance, Chase says they have something that's called the 524 rule. It says that you can have 5 different credit cards that you've signed up for. Not Chase credit cards, 5 different credit cards that you can have signed up for in a 24-month period of time. So I make sure that I time all of my signups around that 524 rule. So the good news is that I have some openings right now in my personal cards. So I'm doing some personal cards at the moment. The business cards don't tend to count against that 524 rule. So when I'm full of my business or my personal cards, that's when I tend to sign up for more and more business cards.
But I think that
And again, I also created a business under my wife's name just so that we have the ability to sign up for more cards.
oh, so it's an illegitimate business that you started. Is that what you're saying?
No, she's an independent contractor. So as an independent contractor, she has the ability to create a business, and all the money comes in through that business.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I
Pat,
think I'm sorry. I think you'd be very proud of me. We're planning a family trip to Washington D.C., New York, and coming back to L.A. And I transferred everything, not everything. I transferred my points directly to the airlines like United from here to LAX, and then from here LAX to Dulles in Washington, and then from Washington, New York, and New York to LAX using all. I didn't spend, whatever the taxes.
You paid for the taxes.
Paid for the taxes, but everything was paid for. Four family members.
and how many points did it cost you?
And that's not.
It was. I was able to be a little flexible. So on one flight over there, it was like 13,000 points for United per member. So it was like 13 times 4.
Unbelievable.
Um,
13,000 points.
13,000 points
Yep.
per.
And if you're playing this system right with Pat's coaching, right, you're getting like 100, 200,000 sign up bonuses when you're opening these cards. So you could be traveling multiple times.
Correct. Exactly. So,
So for those of you who aren't aware, I spend more than half my year living in Mexico. I retired about 4 years ago, and I go back and forth to Wisconsin 3-4 times a year, and one sign-up bonus can get me back and forth to Wisconsin for probably 2 years for my wife and I, because I can do it for about 10,000 points each way if I do a little bit of research of what I'm looking to do.
But Pat, I think that's one of the big things that as a martial arts school owner, they have a great opportunity because they are spending, $10,000 to $30,000 a month on their business expenses. So if they're playing this game, they open a business credit card, they get the sign up bonus to 100, 200,000 points. Then on top of that, you're using the multiplier. So if you do that in American Express Gold, and let's say they have a summer camp or after school program, they're buying gas, they're taking their staff out. Like these points are just continue to stack. So that's where that term is. You got to make the money
100%.
work for you.
And that's why I wanted to talk to martial arts school owners, because they are leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. They are using one credit card that they may not even be getting any benefits from. And they're getting maybe 1 cent back for each point that they're accumulating, or they're not getting any benefit at all from money that they're already spending. So if they're being smart about it, they are going to get just tens of thousands of dollars worth of benefits over the course of a single year, and be able to do things that they otherwise would have to be pulling money out of their pocket for.
And that they're going to naturally spend anyways, right? So why not
100%.
get it? It's not like we're saying,
Why
hey,
not
go-
take advantage
You're
of
just
it?
not
like-
being smart about how you're making your money work for you, right? Because you're spending it anyways.
Right. So if you're going to
So
spend
it's the same conversation as saying, I have $100,000. Do I want to keep it underneath my mattress, or do I want to invest it in the stock market? I'm going to make that $100,000 turn into $200,000 in 10 years and $400,000 in 20 years, or I can just let it still be $100,000 20 years from now. You want to make your money work for you. This is just another way of investing that money, essentially, that you're already spending. So you're not even taking anything out of your own pocket.
Okay, Pat, all this stuff is brilliant. So can you give us
Brilliant.
some specifics, right? Like,
Wait,
let's
I'm
start
sorry,
with
sorry,
the.
before the specifics. We just talked totally about the travel rewards, right? There's a big other side of cash rewards credit cards.
But let's get the direct specific cards if you want to go the travel route. And then is that okay, Master Hong? Then he can talk about the cash back because he's going to give us a percentage either way. So,
Oh, really? Because I was just gonna ask, is travel better than cash?
In general, you're going to get a higher dollar reward value if you take your points, transfer it to a partner, and redeem those points that way. You're going to get a much better return on your investment. However, there have been times where the cash back has worked out really well. So, for instance, I'll use an example. I owned a couple of Dairy Queens in Las Vegas. I had to buy a brand new ice cream machine, and it was going to cost me, I forget, $13,000, something like that. And there was a Capital One Miles Spark card, I believe was the name of the card. And with that card, if you spent $10,000 in a 3-month period of time, they gave me $2,000 cash back as a sign-up bonus. That's a 20% bonus on that initial spending. I never used the card again. I put it in a drawer. I never close the cards until at least a year is up. But I put it in a drawer after that. But I got $2,000 worth of free cash. If you're going out and buying a whole bunch of mats and you can get 20% back on your purchase of those mats, why would you not look at a cashback card in that particular instance?
But I don't want to gloss over that little nuance that you made. You said don't close it under 12 months.
I would never close a card under 12 months. 2 reasons why. One is that the different ecosystems, Chase, American Express, they start catching on to that, and they start making it harder for you to get a new card if you're just opening and closing. So I don't do that. I always wait for 12 months. And the second thing is there's a larger ding on your credit score if you close it before 12
Well, you're
months.
telling me that now because that's what I did is I closed those cards under the 12 months. Why didn't you tell me sooner, Pat?
You apparently didn't ask.
But Ted.
Wait,
Why would you close a card
because
before an annual fee is?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like,
why close at all?
I'm paying the annual fee twice then, right? Like that was my rationale.
no.
I wanted to stop it
When-
before I got
when
charged the annual fee.
When the annual fee shows up on your credit card, if you don't want to keep the card, if the benefits don't outweigh paying that annual fee, if you close it, even though the annual fee shows up on your card, they will credit that back to you. You don't pay that annual fee after the 1 year.
Okay, so just to be clear,
So-
you open the card, you pay the $100 or $500 annual fee, and then as you get into the month turns, then now you're in year 2, you get charged the annual fee the second time. You're saying cancel it after you get it the second time, they'll refund you the money?
You just don't, when you get the bill showing that the annual fee is due, that's when I would cancel. And then they will just remove that annual fee from your
So
statement.
you never pay the annual fee twice. If in this situation, right? You are only paying the once.
I'll use the American Express Platinum card as my example. I never pay that annual fee twice. However, and this is showing my geekiness, American Express annual fees have some benefits to them. So when you pay for the annual fee the first time, you get $200 worth of airfare credit to use per year. And you get other credits that are annual credits. So I sign up for that credit card, let's say in October. I get that $200 annual fee that first year, and it turns over that second year, which is January 1st, not the year of your credit card renewal, and I'll get that $200 annual fee a second time. So that I actually get $400 worth of airline credits by doing it that way. And then when the annual fee is due the second time, I cancel it, and I only paid one annual fee, but I got 2 years worth of benefits.
Wow, talk about it like a whole nother layer, right? It's like the timing of when you do this.
Timing of when you do it. And this is all things that I've learned over time because I didn't come out just knowing all this stuff. I do follow a guy online called thepointsguy.com. I would highly recommend that people that are interested in this follow that. But if you want detailed, this is my goal, how do I get there? Email me and I'll put together a plan.
Well, I mean,
and if I
it
can,
all
if I
makes
can get a
sense.
benefit, that's
I was
great.
like,
If you can't,
this is brilliant. And now you just proved my point. It wasn't your idea. You got it from the points guy.
I got it. I started off on my own, and then the points guy
Okay,
took
so,
me to a
so
different
the brilliance
level.
didn't
100%
come
sure.
from you. Let's be clear here.
I figured it out about 20 years prior to you, Jay, so I'm going to say the brilliance started with me.
Can I just say that trying to follow this was harder than when I was trying to do calculus. This is like mind-blowing. It's insane.
Again, you can start this very basic, though, which is get 1 or 2 really good cards that are going to help you with how you're spending your money right now. And once you see that first bonus, you'll say, oh my God, I want to take larger advantage of this and learn more. But you start with those 1 or 2 cards. Is there 1 or 2 airlines that you travel all the time because your city is a hub airline? It's a hub airline for your city. If Southwest flies out of Milwaukee, so Southwest works well for me. But if I lived in Savannah, Georgia, and it might be there now, but when I lived there, Southwest didn't fly in Savannah. So getting a Southwest card doesn't make the most sense. You want to get the card that makes sense for you. If I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, I would make sure that the Delta Airlines card is part of my repertoire, because Delta flies everywhere from there, and you can fly so much cheaper and with a lot fewer points on what the dollars would cost for you to buy those tickets out of Atlanta, Georgia.
That makes sense.
So you need to figure out what are your goals, what airlines do you fly, what hotels do you stay at. Hyatt might have the best redemption values, but if Hyatt isn't your hotel, it'd be foolish for you to get that credit card.
Okay, so
I love the Hyatt hotels. It's figuring out what makes the most sense for you.
Pat, let's take a step back from a school owner's perspective, right? School owner who doesn't really follow the reward system, they listen to this podcast. What should they do right now? Which card makes the most sense or best for a martial arts, small business and martial arts school owner that they should open immediately, like right after they listen to this podcast? Because you have to listen to all the way to the end. So don't do it now.
But you got to put my referral link in there, though.
I was saying I can put my referral link for those 2 credit cards down in the bottom.
I'll put all 3, and then I'll let the viewer choose which one they wanna click on the referral.
Nice. But the top 2 that I'm going to tell you that you want to do are both Chase cards. On the personal side, the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. It has a $95 annual fee, and it typically gives you between $80 or $100,000 or 80 to 100,000 points for the sign-up bonus. And so it's a low-cost card. It's a high reward card, and it's good for transferring it to a lot of different partners. So that tends to be the card that's my go-back to card. Whenever I'm not trying to get a new sign-up bonus, that's the card I use for my everyday spend. The second card is the Chase Business Inc. card. Actually, I think it's the Chase Business Inc. Preferred. It's the same ecosystem, but again, it's a very high sign-up bonus. Typically, I think it's about 95,000 points. It's a $95 annual fee. There's also another Chase Inc. card Preferred that if you have a Chase card, there's actually no annual fee with that card, but you need to be able to transfer those points. That doesn't accumulate points in the same ecosystem properly, but you can transfer it to the points to your other cards, so you can still use it for travel and whatever else.
Okay.
And you referred me to that Inc. Preferred, and it gives you multipliers, right? Like if you're spending hotel, it'll give you 2 or 3 times more points. So there's tons of benefits.
If you're spending money, I think on business internet kind of things, and you put that on that card to automatically do it. It also pays for your cell phone. If you put your cell phone on that card, it'll pay you for the safety, so that the insurance on your phone, so you don't have to pay for that out of pocket. It actually pays for insurance on your phone for you. Every card has multiple different benefits and multiple multipliers, if you will. Some are for groceries if it's personal cards. Some are for business expenses if you do a lot of hiring. Some will pay for your Indeed accounts, things like that. So it's again figuring out what it is that you're trying to achieve and finding the right card for what you're trying to achieve.
I took so much advantage of the cell phone protection plan because I get the cell phone protection plan from the Amex and Chase, right? So when one of my family members or myself, when I crack the phone or drop it or break it, I take it to the cell phone repair, get the invoice, send it over and claim it through the credit card, and they reimburse me for the cell phone, whether I need to fix it or replace it. I mean, why? I don't even pay for a separate insurance plan through my carrier because of the credit card.
So just to be clear on that, Master Hong, in order to take advantage of that, you have to just pay your Verizon bill through that credit card, and it automatically gives you the protection, correct?
That's correct. You don't need to enroll it, but you have to make sure that your monthly payment that you do your cell phone protection, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile, is paid through that credit card. So Chase and Amex both offer cell phone protection. I mean, certain cards. But when you submit the claim to, let's say, Amex, they have to say, okay, upload your last 2 months of your statement, confirming you paid your cell phone through the Amex card.
So don't pay for Verizon's insurance, right? Because you're throwing money out the window. You can already get the same protection if you just do it through your credit card.
Exactly.
Also true with the Chase Business Inc. card or your Amex Platinum card. Don't ever sign up for car rental insurance. They provide the car rental insurance
as long as you pay it with that credit card, correct?
With that credit card.
And then do you have to sign up for anything, or is just as long as you make the payment, it'll cover it?
As long as you make the payment, it'll cover it.
Okay, so I have an idea, Pat, is that People can
Uh-oh.
essentially travel to Las
Not a good now.
Vegas for the ASA Summit for free if they play this system, right? They can get their plane ticket, they pay
100%
for.
sure.
So we can't give out the cards or anything until they commit to ASA, right? October 2026, October 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
First, second, and third in October in Las Vegas. And on top of that, I'm more than happy to do anything online, but I can give them a mini introduction into going down all the different rabbit holes because I obviously will be there and will be more than happy to help anybody take this to the next
But you're
level.
saying it
need
has to be taking
We
place
are
at a
just
blackjack
scratching the
table, is
surface.
what you're saying, though.
And I would prefer for them to be paying for my gambling, yes.
We need you to speak on this as a topic at our ASA Summit. That would be crazy.
I've talked to Master Lee about it, and it's just never been put on the schedule.
Well, he just
So,
doesn't understand it. That's why he hasn't done it.
it all goes over his head. But it literally, so Jay, you got over 1,000,000 points from holding one now it's a huge event, but you got over 1,000,000 points from just one large event, correct?
Correct, but I made the mistake early on that I was using the Chase point. I was redeeming them through the Trace travel site as opposed to transferring over to the travel partners. So that was a mistake
Yep.
that I blame you for that you didn't tell me
No,
about.
that's a rookie mistake, Pat. Rookie mistake.
It's all stuff that I learned over time. And I go through a lot of this stuff with you. And Jay, my guess is you probably just didn't write down proper notes. I'm sure I told you, you just weren't able to comprehend everything that needed to
Well,
be
why
done.
do you think we're doing this podcast? Now it's recorded. I don't have to take notes.
There you go. But again, one of the other things that I want to go back to the credit score thing because at different times in my life, I've started my own business, I've done different things, and I always get very nervous because I always say that the only thing that I own is my credit score because otherwise everything else was owned by banks and whatever else. And it was always really important that my credit score was very high. By having 17 credit cards and using a very small portion of the amount of available credit, it actually helps my credit score stay higher than if I only had one credit card. So it's about usage of credit cards as well as how long you've had the credit cards and everything else. But by playing these games, I've actually increased my score over if I would have just kept one for all these
Okay,
years.
so Pat, just to decipher what you just said, right? You have a credit card that you have a $6,000 or $10,000 spend to get the first time bonus. So you're saying make sure you
Yep.
meet that, but once you get that sign up bonus, don't try to get close to the cap. You just try to spend a little bit. So you're saying like spend just couple $100. Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, it doesn't really matter when they're looking at your credit score. They're looking at all the available credit that you have. So let's say I have 10 credit cards with $10,000 credit limit on each one, but I have a total of debt before the bill is paid of $1,000. They're saying I'm using 1% of my total credit available.
So the key is just
understand what I'm saying?
Well, I didn't get the math, so I couldn't. But you're just saying that reduce the amount, reduce the amount that you're spending. Don't use a high percentage of your
No.
available credit.
Of available credit. So I thought as a Korean man, you were supposed to be good at
When
that.
you talk numbers to Master Jay,
Well,
you have
I
to
was
speak
just
much
doing the
slower.
math. The 10,000 times 10.
Times 10 cards of 100. But yeah, so as long as you're utilizing a small percentage of your total available credit, they're saying that you manage your credit well, and so your credit score actually goes up. So by me having, I'm going to say I probably have $500,000 worth of available credit on credit cards. But I use at any given time, let's say $2,000, $3,000 every given month that I then pay in full. I'm using less than 1% of my available credit. They say, wow, this guy knows how to manage his credit, and my score goes much higher.
And the discipline to make sure that you pay off that credit card at the end of the billing cycle is just it's just crucial.
Absolutely. And if you're not a person that's on top of paying your bills on time every month, set it up on an automatic payment or something because you do not want to be late because that's what affects your credit score. If you start paying those credit card bills late, then you're going to start seeing a ding to your score.
Okay, so Pat, you've educated us all about the travel. Can we talk a little bit about the cash back? I know you gave the example of that $2,000 credit you got back, but for those who want to take advantage of that, can you enlighten us, please?
So at the end of the day, it works in exactly the same way. You sign up for a new card, you get a sign-up bonus, which is instead of an X number of points, you're getting X number of dollars back. So the Capital One card that I had signed up for, I got $2,000 back for spending $10,000 in a 3-month period of time. But the Capital One is one of the better cards for the cash back piece, but you can do it with any one of the cards. If you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred that I mentioned earlier, they'll give you 1 cent back for every point that you have. So if you sign up for a 100,000 point sign up bonus, it'll give you $1,000 cash back as soon as you hit your minimum spend. So every card out there essentially will give you a cash back benefit. It's just that you get a higher value if you transfer it to partners and use the points. But there are lots of cards that are just cash back if you would prefer.
Okay, so stupid question. I know I'm full of them, but is it better to take the statement credit, or they will actually send you a check, right? Does that check, is it taxable? Is it like, what's the best way to do that?
So I would tell you a really good question. At the end of the day, as long as it's less than, I think, $3,000 that you take as one payment, I think that it's non-taxable. So I think you're fine either which way. I don't know exactly what that dollar amount is, so do not quote me on that. But it doesn't really matter because you're going to get the same dollar value either way. There used to be a card out there that if you paid a mortgage payment with you, they would pay you 1.25 cents per point instead of 1 cent per point. That I used to do that with CitiCard back in the day. I don't think that they have that any longer. But again, it depends upon what your goal is and how much you're trying to get. Travel rewards, I'm going to tell you that if you do it smart, you can get 5 to 6 times the amount of value for the same points. If you're not a traveler, though, you're still foolish to leave those thousands of dollars sitting on the table that you could be getting cash back for.
I have a specific question on a specific card. Everybody buys stuff from Amazon now. Chase has a Amazon Prime card.
Don't do it.
I've been doing it for years, Pat. That's why I wanted to ask.
Well, that's why he said it's a stupid thing to do. I mean, it's obvious why you've been doing it.
It gives you 5 times the amount that you pay for on Amazon purchases with that card.
So if you want to use that for regular purchases on Amazon, you get your 5% cash back, and that you can use on future purchases. It's fine. But again, remember, for me, I'm trying to get those sign-up bonuses where I'm getting 10 times, 20 times the amount. And so during those times when I'm trying to get those sign-up bonuses, I want to make sure that everything that I'm buying on Amazon, any other website, going to the gas station, going anywhere, I want to get those sign-up bonuses.
Oh, by spending a required amount after you
Correct.
So what?
But once you've met that threshold for you to go back to your Amazon card for those times in between, there's no harm.
Okay, so just to clarify,
I just don't
Pat,
use it on a regular
you're
basis.
saying you weren't saying no to it just because it's the card itself for the Amazon. You're just saying take advantage of sign-up bonuses. If you want to continue to use that card, if you find value in that, it's fine.
Getting 5% back, that's fantastic. That's a great thing. I just think that there's larger returns when you're trying to go for those sign-up bonuses.
Okay, but let me just ask you another question on the Amazon, right? Like you have your credit card attached to your Amazon link, and they'll say, "Hey, you can take X points, and they'll take care of the transaction for you," right? That's a big no-no.
Yep, that's a big no-no. And and again, it's different if you're going to use that Amazon card because you've gotten 5 times the number of points. I would tell you just to take the cash back on that, not to use the points for purchases. But you're getting 1 cent per point when you're doing it with those other cards that are attached to your Amazon account. So there's just much higher value that you can use those points for. I would tell you not to waste your time with that.
I mean, it's just like a whole nother world, Pat.
What?
The amount of knowledge I have, Jay, is just overwhelming.
Yeah, I think we're about out of time, Master Hong.
We need to do a part 2 of like. We need to do like a 10-part episode of this just so like we fully grasp the whole credit card world, rewards world. This is crazy.
I can definitely, and sadly, I can go for hours and hours on this because I actually just enjoy it. I find it interesting and fun.
But I mean, it's a classic situation of taking advantage of the system, right? Like people think, oh, I don't want to deal with the headache of opening another card and setting up my auto pays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's all worth it. You're going to get tens of thousands of dollars of value if you're willing to just play the game. You're just taking advantage of the system.
And the school owners, they get to take a free vacation every year, knowing when they play this game, play the system, knowing that they could take them and their family to a free vacation every year by just spending what they would normally spend anyway. It's no brainer.
That's exactly it. I take two pretty major vacations every year. I use nothing but points for, and if it's over a 4 hour flight, I do business class because I'm old and I want to have the lay down seats and everything else. And I've used nothing but points for 25 years. So again, this is all money that they're already spending. For them to spend 1 hour every 3 months to say, oh, what should I be looking at differently for the next credit card, for the next whatever, for them to get thousands and thousands of dollars worth of value, it's a no-brainer.
And
It really
let's
is.
go for like a typical school owner expense. I mean, you're talking, can you pay rent on a credit card? It depends on, I guess, the landlord, right?
It depends on the
Right?
landlord.
But like supplies, utilities, not payroll, but supplies, utilities. If you're going to do any purchases, like big purchases like mats
Yeah,
or
I think if you're
renovation.
opening another location in a new location, you have all these big capital expenses, mats, equipment, uniform, things like that. You should absolutely be taking advantage of this.
100%. And again, it's just free money is the way to look at it. And on top of that, there's all the protections that come with credit card use over paying directly anyhow. If the uniforms that you purchased for resale are flawed in some way, shape, or form, you go back to your credit card and you dispute the charge and they'll fight that for you. You don't have to fight it, they'll fight it. There's all sorts of benefits to using your credit cards, and having that cash benefit as well, it's a no-brainer. And I keep on saying the same term over and over again, but it's true. And I don't know why anybody would turn down free money.
Well, I mean, you made a comment, no brainer. That's why Master Hong's had trouble doing this, right? It's just, he has no brain.
I'm still trying to.
Was not my comment.
I said, can you?
For some of my friends, I have their wife start to do this for them because they aren't willing to take the time to do it themselves. So that I've taught several of their wives to do this so that they can do it on their behalf.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. You got to get Master Chan Li's wife involved then.
She and I have already had several conversations. Yes.
Okay, let's conclude there, everybody. Pat, this was exactly the kind of conversation our audience needed to hear. And honestly, one most of them had never had before. The bottom line is simple. You're already spending the money. Every piece of equipment, every software subscription, supply order, coming to the ASA Summit, ASA Live, every business expense, it's all going somewhere. The only question is whether you're getting anything back for it. What Mr. Pat Morgan laid out today isn't complicated. It doesn't require a financial advisor or a business degree. It just requires you to be intentional about how you spend what you're already spending. So here's your homework before the next episode. Pull out the last 30 days of business expenses, add them up, and ask yourself, how many points should I have earned on this? If the answer is 0, it's time to fix that. A huge thank you to Master Jay Lee, Mr. Pat Morgan, for bringing this to the Black Belt Banter table. If you want to connect with Mr. Pat or learn more, check out the links in the description below. We will see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.